Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a really fascinating intersection. The huge global world of anime and the potential of Web3 tech.
Yeah, and the source we're digging into for this deep dive, it's a pretty detailed report from back in January 23rd, 2025. It focuses specifically on this project called Animecoin, or Anime.
Right. So our mission here is to really understand what Animecoin is, at its core. What's this ecosystem they're building? What are their goals? And specifically, how are they trying to connect you, the anime fan, with this idea of a community-owned creative network? We want to pull out the main points from this source.
Exactly. We'll get into the fundamental concept behind it, the different jobs the Anime token actually does, break down the various parts of their platform and the tech underneath, and also look at some, well, pretty surprising partnerships they've got going on. Gives you a real sense of where they are and where they're headed.
Okay, so let's kick off with that big picture idea. The source says Animecoin wants to transform the entire global anime industry. How exactly?
Well, the core concept, according to this report, is shifting the industry towards becoming a community-owned creative network.
Yeah.
They even call anime the culture coin of the anime industry.
Culture coin.
Wow. Yeah, and what's really striking is the sheer scale of ambition here. They're talking about empowering 1 billion fans globally, not just to watch anime, but to actively, shape and even own its future.
Empowering a billion fans to shape and own. I mean, that's setting the bar incredibly high. And the report mentioned this is backed by Azuki.
That's right. The source notes it's supported by Azuki, which it describes as like a premier Web3 anime brand already. So it suggests they're not starting from scratch. They're building on an existing community and reputation in the Web3 space.
Okay. So fusing an established Web3 presence with this massive global industry, what's the actual stated mission then? What's driving this combination?
The mission stated in the report is pretty explicit. It's about achieving mass adoption for both anime's cultural influence and Web3's tech potential by bringing them together.
So like a symbiotic thing. Each helps the other grow.
Exactly. The idea is that each helps the other reach a much wider audience than it could alone.
Mass adoption for both. Okay, that frames it differently. Not just crypto trying to get into anime, but anime using crypto to expand its reach. And central to all this is the anime token itself. What jobs does the report say it actually performs in this system?
So the report breaks it down into 3 key roles for the anime token. First up, it's a governance token.
Right. Standard for Web3.
Pretty standard, yeah. It gives holders the power to vote on network decisions, basically the mechanism for that community ownership they're aiming for.
So holding the token isn't just about value, it could give you a real say in where the project goes.
That's the idea. Second, it acts as the gas token for Animechain. That's their custom blockchain, which we'll talk more about. Anime is the fuel needed for transactions on that specific chain.
Okay. Needing their own token for gas on their own chain. That makes sense for controlling the network environment. What's rule number 3?
The third key role is as the platform currency. The report says anime can be used directly for, like, buying things, for commerce, right within the anime.com platform.
Governance, gas, and currency. Huh. That sounds like the token is meant to be really deeply woven into everything from strategy down to daily use.
It definitely positions the token as, foundational to the entire ecosystem they're building.
Speaking of building, let's look at the pieces of this ecosystem. Where does anime.com fit into this?
Anime.com is presented as their flagship consumer product, their main app. And the goal here is seriously ambitious. They want it to become the social layer for the entire global anime industry.
The social layer for the whole industry. Wow. They compare it to what Discord did for gaming, right? That's
Yeah.
aiming really high. Does the report give any sense of its reach so far? Any early numbers?
It does, yeah. The report has figures from January 23rd, 2025, which are pretty interesting, especially since the full platform wasn't even live then. They already had 3.3 million unique addresses signed up for the anime.com waitlist.
3.3 million on a wait list?
Yeah, and get this, 13.6 million NFTs had already been minted through related activities.
Whoa, okay. 3.3 million addresses waiting and over 13 million NFTs minted. That definitely points to some significant early buzz and activity even before launch. What about the tech underneath it all, the Animechain?
So Animechain is detailed as an L3 blockchain. It's built using Arbitrum Orbit technology. Like we said, Anime is its custom gas token.
An L3. Interesting. So built on top of an L2 like Arbitrum. Why go that route, technically? Especially if you're trying to bring in mainstream anime fans who might be totally new to Web3.
Well, this is where you see the strategy for mass adoption really clearly. Using an L3 and having anime as the only required gas token is all about simplifying the experience for the user. And crucially, the report mentions plans for gasless transactions, or sponsored ones.
Gasless, meaning the user might not have to pay transaction fees sometimes.
Exactly. Or the network sponsors it. This directly tackles one of the biggest hurdles for Web2 folks coming into Web3, needing different tokens just to pay for gas, managing all that complexity.
Huh. Only needing one token, maybe sometimes not even worrying about the cost of interacting. That feels like a very deliberate move to make it way easier for a non-crypto audience to jump in.
Absolutely. It's prioritizing usability to hit that mass adoption goal. Now, beyond the main platform and the chain itself, they're also using assets they already have.
Right. You mentioned the Azuki IP.
Exactly. They manage 3 NFT collections, Azuki, Elementals, and Beans. The plan outlined in the report is to use this existing IP, this established base, as a launchpad for creating new content in formats people already know: webtoons, manga, TV series, films, even live-action stuff.
So the Web3 digital items aren't just staying digital. They're becoming the source material for cartoons and shows like traditional anime fans are used to. That definitely bridges a gap.
Yeah, it shows a strategy of taking their Web3 successes and translating them into mainstream entertainment pipelines. Now, another part of this ecosystem focused more on user identity is anime.
Anime. What that?
It's described as a customizable anime avatar system. Like you create your own little anime character. And they also function as sticker packs. The source makes an interesting comparison, calling it the potential Snapchat's Bitmoji for anime.
Ah, okay. Like a personalized digital you that you can use across their platform.
Pretty much. Planned for their mobile app, iOS specifically mentioned, and also on the anime.com website, it just adds another way for fans to personalize things and interact visually.
Okay, so we've got the core token for governance, utility, commerce, an L3 chain designed for ease of use, existing IP turning into new shows, a big social platform goal, and these customizable avatars. The report also gave some token numbers as of that January date, right?
It did, yeah. Key metrics listed. Total and max supply is 10 billion anime tokens. When it listed, the circulating supply was around 5.54 billion, so about 55.39% of the total was out there initially.
Over half the supply circulating right away.
Correct. And it also specifically mentions an allocation of 500 million tokens. That's about 5% of the total set aside for a Ocho dealer airdrop.
For existing holders, okay.
And the token type is ERC20 on Arbitrum, which makes sense, starting on a major L2 before their own Animechain mainnet was fully live.
Yeah, launching on Arbitrum first gives immediate access to liquidity and integrations. Okay, let's talk timeline, the roadmap. What did the report say they'd already done by early 2025, and what was coming up?
So it highlights several milestones they hit back in 2024. Q2 saw the premiere of the first episode of that Azuki anime anthology series we mentioned.
Yeah.
Then in Q3 2024, the private testnet for Animechain went live, and the anime.com waitlist opened. That's where those big numbers came from.
So hitting tech milestones and growing the community base throughout last year.
Definitely. And then in Q4 2024, they had that significant collaboration involving Sony's Aniplex and the Fade IP on anime.com.
Working with a major player like Sony's Aniplex early on, that shows they can operate within the traditional industry, which leads us nicely into the partnerships, because that's often where you see the rubber meet the road, right? The real world strategy.
Absolutely. And one huge partnership detailed is with Dentsu. I mean, they're a powerhouse in anime production, involved in tons of massive shows.
Dentsu is a very big name. What are they doing together specifically?
Azuki is working with Dentsu to produce their own anime anthology series, and they've brought in some serious talent. Goro Taniguchi, who directed Code Geass and the huge hit One Piece film Red, he's the creative producer.
Wow, getting Goro Taniguchi involved? That signals they're serious about making high-quality content right out of the gate. The report said episode 1 was already out in April 2024, and more were planned for 2025.
Yep, episode 1 released, and episodes 2 and 3 were marked as planned for 2025 in the report. So this Dentsu partnership isn't just talk, it's actively creating stuff.
And the AniplexUSA partnership you mentioned, with Fate.
Right, AniplexUSA is bringing the Fate series, which is hugely popular, onto anime.com. The report gives a cool example. They supported the Fate 20th anniversary event in LA last November. People there and watching the live stream could collect 4 different digital sticker sets right on anime.com.
Huh, that's a smart integration. Taking something fans already do, digitizing it on their platform, and linking it to a big real-world event and a beloved franchise. It's a direct bridge for existing anime fans.
Totally. And the report adds that Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks is set to stream on anime.com soon, with more Fate content planned after that. Getting a massive ongoing franchise like Fate involved is clearly a strategy to pull in a broad audience.
Okay, so working with giants like Dentsu and Aniplex is one angle. Are they also working with more cutting-edge tech partners?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a partnership mentioned with Hallway AI. They're an AI character platform, and their whole thing is turning 2D characters into like living interactive personalities.
Interactive AI anime characters, how does that fit into the ecosystem?
Well, they've partnered with Hallway specifically to bring Bobi to life using AI. Bobu is a community-governed character from the Azuki world. The idea is to explore ways to deepen fan engagement by letting you actually interact with the characters directly, make that social layer feel more alive.
Interesting. Takes character interaction beyond just reading about them or watching them. You can actually talk to an AI version.
That seems to be the direction. And speaking of advanced tech, there's also a partnership with Flashbots. They're known more as a Web3 research and development group. Flashbots is contributing to something called Project Teleport within the Animecoin ecosystem.
Flashbots, they usually deal with pretty complex blockchain stuff like MEV. What are they doing here?
The report gives this really fascinating, though, technically dense example. It involves using T's trusted execution environments. Apparently, during a live stream, the Bobu AI character, using this tech, actually tweeted for about 300 users from their linked X accounts.
Hold on. An AI character tweeted from people's personal Twitter accounts. That sounds wild. Very innovative, maybe slightly unnerving.
It definitely pushes boundaries on digital identity and automation in entertainment. The report doesn't dive super deep into the T-tech specifics, but the example itself shows they're willing to explore some complex, secure Web3 tools for really novel storytelling and engagement, stuff that goes way beyond typical interactions.
Right.
It hints at possibilities where characters or maybe community decisions could securely trigger actions tied to your identity online.
Okay, so they're not just building a platform for watching and chatting, they're actually experimenting with how deep Web3 tech could fundamentally change how fans, characters, and the content itself interact, using secure tech for some pretty bold ideas.
It definitely paints a picture of how they see fans interacting within this universe and with each other in the future, mediated by both these AI characters and some advanced secure technology.
Right, so pulling all this together, this deep dive. Based on that January 2025 report, it shows a project with a truly massive vision, doesn't it? Transforming the global anime scene into a community-owned network. We've seen how the anime token is meant to be central governance, gas, commerce. We've looked at the ecosystem pieces, the ambitious anime.com social layer, the user-friendly goal of the Animechain L3, using existing IP for new shows, and innovative stuff like AI avatars.
And those partnerships really stand out.
Exactly. Those concrete partnerships with big names like Dentsu and Aniplex, plus the cutting-edge tech collabs with Hallway AI and Flashbots, they show active development, a strategy that covers traditional content, mainstream fan engagement, and exploring genuinely new Web3 applications.
It's a serious attempt to blend a massive cultural force with emerging tech, maybe on a scale we haven't seen before, and with a clear focus on making the Web3 part easy for regular fans while still pushing the tech boundaries.
So thinking about this model described in the source, this community-owned creative economy, trying to fuse anime's power with Web3. If it works, if it's successful, how might that change things? Not just how you consume anime, but maybe how fans get involved in or even steer other creative industries down the line. That's definitely something to chew on.